Hi, I'm Pradeep, also from Aerospace. I've been teaching a few core courses at the undergrad level and also an elective at the PG level. So my experience with both of these are quite different. And the way I approach the teaching uh, of the UG core versus the PG core is quite different. Although some of the undergrad students also take the PG core course as part of their elective. However, one of the things that I try to do in both these courses is to give them some examples of where what we are discussing in the class is going to be used. That's something that they would like to see how and why we are doing this analysis. Is this going to be useful for them at any point or the other? So I think giving some examples, showing them some interesting videos of this is how this works, and the reason why it works is because of some of the things that we have discussed. Um, Quite often this works. Many students get excited by just um, this feeling that what they're doing in the class may be of some use at some point or the other. So this works for both the UG as well as PG elective. And in my PG elective course, I also give a design project, but it's very different from what Avijit mentioned. It's not a system level design, it's a subsystem component level design, where they use whatever theory they study in the class as part of a group design project, where there's no right answer to it. It's a design exercise, as he mentioned, that there could be multiple right answers. There's no answer per se, it's just design, where besides the equations and so on, you also have to use a little bit of your intuition so that you get a design at the end of your so-called course project. And that seemed to have worked in terms of a lot of discussions that happen after the class where students struggle with making a choice or a decision at some point of the design. Now, what do I do next? Is this how it should be done? And things like that. So I think that has been quite successful. That's what I think, because uh, the project part of it, from the feedback also, I see that students seem to enjoy doing this hands-on design project, and they get to use a bunch of tools which I make, some open source tools which are available. So they get to use those tools, and that seems to have clicked. Which is of course not done in the UG course, but even the undergrads who take the course seem to enjoy this project hands-on stuff. I think that's my experience based on this UG and the PG courses I teach.
How do you do assessment?
Of the project?
It's mostly project based.
No, the PG has about some weightage for the project. There is an NSEM, all that is there, but there is a significant weightage for the project where they sort of present how they have approached the problem. And I couldn't do that in the last delivery. It was a very large class, and because of 100 plus people who signed up for it, I realized later that many of them signed up for the course because there is a project and they get to show it in their CV that they've done a project in the course. But usually I do ask them to present their design and how they've approached the design project.
I have a question about adapting course material there. So, a lot of these hands-on, like I teach a GIS course, which they come to learn the software. So, the general standing notion is theory doesn't matter. My point is it's only monkey buttons otherwise. So, how do you adapt your course material when you tend to have more students than otherwise? And how do you then justify the evaluations to students who come in with a particular outcome in mind?
I don't know if I had to do anything different in this large. That was just one of incident of what happened a couple of semesters earlier. It was essentially the same, except that I just could not have these individual presentations to evaluate.
So they still did the project?
Oh yes, they did the project, but it was a project which I had to just take my judgment and without having them present these their individual project. Usually I do that, but it's 100 plus class. There's no way I could evaluate individual presentations. But the project was still there. It was just that I had to do a lot of work to evaluate them without them presenting their project.
that done in a collaborative way? Like a group of students who do a single project?
They could either team up with a couple of them, or they could do it individually. Some of them prefer to do it individually. That's a choice left to them. But I try to restrict the group sizes to like 2 or 3, so that I can have a fair assessment of what individually they have done.
And like, what if they need help? Like they're stuck or something?
Oh yeah, that's why at the end of the class, many of them do approach me to see if, how to move forward if they start. Yeah, sure.
And during COVID times, how did you manage?
It was all online, so there was a session where I said after the class I can stay back for some more time if you have doubts and so on.
Thank you.
Yeah.